this is Derek Felton and welcome to Innerpreneurship, the science of personal transformation. And I want to talk to you about something today that I'm sure you've dealt with or maybe you've dealt with in the past, and that's failure. So stay tuned in this video to learn some techniques for dealing with failure. So if you're like me or anyone else who's ever walked the face of God's green earth, you've experienced failure in some way. It may be something like maybe asking someone out to the prom or to a movie and they turned you down, so you failed at getting the person to go out with you. Or perhaps you went on a job interview and you thought you were in there, you were one of the last couple candidates and you knew that they loved you, but then they selected someone else. So you didn't get that job, so you kind of failed at that. Or perhaps you tried to get healthier or you tried to lose weight and you would lose a couple pounds only to gain it back and then some. So maybe you've had some failings or failure with that. Or maybe you've had something like me where I failed at business some years ago, maybe over 10 years ago. I started a marketing company with some friends of mine and we had some successes and things seemed to be going pretty well. We were getting a couple of contracts with some consumer brands companies and a couple of media companies, and we thought we were on our way, only to invest in some things in our business that just completely bombed. And our relationship as partners deteriorated, and I also went into about $25,000 in debt that I had to dig myself out of. And as a young man who wasn't making very much money and was just trying to find his way in the world, that was devastating for me. I mean, I've known people who've lost or been in debt by $100,000 or more. So $25,000 for me was a lot. But what happened was, besides losing the money, and even in addition to some of the friendships that I had that were frayed and had to be repaired, was I began to label myself as a failure. So essentially what happened was the failure became my identity. And I couldn't really see myself in any other way other than as a failure. And that was really hard to deal with. And I'm sure I was hard to deal with during those years. And as a result of that, other things that I tried afterwards just seemed to not go well. I couldn't get any traction in anything that I was trying. And it wasn't because of necessarily my effort. It was because of my mindset. It was because of where my heart was. It was because of what I thought about myself. So if you've ever dealt with failure, then I'm sure you probably know what I'm talking about. So we have to make sure not to identify ourselves as failures when we have a failing. The second thing that we want to do is we want to take the lessons learned from that failure and take the skills that we acquire from the thing that we failed at and then apply it to the next thing in our lives. Because you may have failed at this particular thing, but I'm pretty sure that you learned a lesson or you acquired a skill or an ability or some knowledge that you didn't have before from that thing that you failed at. All right? The third thing you want to do when it comes to failing is you really want to talk to someone about it. You don't want to hold all that in, whether that's getting a coach or talking to a counselor or a friend or someone, a mentor, somebody that you can trust about what it is you're dealing with. I'm pretty sure that that person has probably dealt with something like that or even more. And they can shed some light for you and give you a perspective that you don't have right now, because at this point, you're stuck in your own head. You're thinking of yourself as a failure. You're identifying everything you do with failing. You're thinking about the possibility of moving forward, but it's hard for you to do that because the only thing you can kind of see, even more than you being successful, is you failing at it. And it's really hard to accomplish anything in that type of mindset. Comment on this video and let me know what failures you've experienced in your life or your business, your career, or your relationships, and tell me how that affected you. Also tell me how you got over that failing. Next thing I want you to do is subscribe to this channel so that you can get more videos like this, and also so that you can be notified about our weekly inspirational workshops where we take a deep dive and go in depth about this topic and other things so that you can create an inner transformation and have more success and more fulfillment in your life. Thank you.